Okay, so Motocross Action's getting ready to ride this thing soon. Let's see, look at all these parts that are left over when you do a full-on build like this. This is all the parts we went through. This time, usually I throw away everything as we go. You can see how many parts it takes to go through all this. We kept everything together, and you can see we went through all these parts, the bolts, reed cage, carburetor, pipe, silencer, plastic, triple clamps, handlebars, foot pegs. It's just an amazing amount of pieces that it takes to do one of these things. Okay, we're back here in this KX500 project. You've seen all the parts, the extra parts we had laid out. You've seen all that, you know, how much was left over with this thing, how just so much went into it. Last week we shot this thing with Motocross Action out here at Glen Helen Raceway just like 4 or 5 days ago, and I don't have a ton of footage from that day because I was so busy with this and another bike. So Daryl Eklund and Josh Mosman with the Motocross Action really loved the bike. Talked to them again today just to firm up some of their thoughts, and they just really love the suspension. Surprised at how well the suspension came out. You can't go test. No one's really, Racetech doesn't have like a setting for KX500 with updated forks and all that. So they were just stoked on how good the suspension was. Wyatt from Racetech came out that day and helped set sag and those types of things, but we didn't have to do a whole lot of adjustments. They were really stoked with it. And then the motor, just loved how fun and smooth and easy it was to ride, and loved the decomp and how easy it was to start. So the bike came out really well. They put a ton of time on it. I think we did 2 tanks on that day, which for most tests on older bikes, guys are like, they just want to get it done. So it was nice to get that. We got Spencer here. Spencer, come on in. We got Spencer coming in, and Spencer's he's been really excited to ride this thing. And I don't know totally why, because I'm not as excited, but are you excited to ride this? Is this the biggest bike you've ever ridden?
This is the biggest bike I've ever ridden. Fastest, definitely fastest. Definitely going to be the gnarliest. Most vibration.
Most vibration. Are you scared at all?
No. Just going to go, take it easy, enjoy the bike. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, so what do you, because you helped with this the day we tore it down, and did you ever think you'd actually ride it?
Back then I was excited. I knew it would take a while. I didn't think it would take this long.
2 birthdays ago.
It's true. It was over, like that long ago that I helped take this thing apart. And when I was doing it then, I was like, yeah, this bike will be really cool. But then I know how other vintage projects go, so. But I'm glad it turned out like the way it did.
Yeah, so I think when we tore this apart, it's been about a year and 2 or 3 months, I think is about what it was or so, from when we started tearing it down to this point. We've learned a lot. We had a few little hiccups. We had a few little things rubbing and things like that. Things you would expect. It doesn't go perfect when you get an old bike and you get it and you change on some newer parts. But our clamps and new fork setup all worked well. We did a little tuning. We had a little sprocket rub with the stock chain guide. We got that tweaked out, so that should be fine now. So we're just kind of learning as we go. Donnie, who owns the bike, we're not totally sure what he thinks. He's going to ride it today, right, as well? He's behind the camera right now. He's going to ride it as well. We're going to see what he thinks later, but I've kind of have told him, hey, you're not going to ride this thing very much. You're going to put it up on the rafters or whatever, or want to sell it. But we got too much time and effort into this thing to sell it, I think. But do you think he's going to ride it much?
I think he'll ride it a few times, and then it'll be like the take it out on the town type thing. He'll take it places, and he'll like show it off. And at the races, he'll have it around, and people will be like, "That's such a cool bike." He'll be like, "Yeah, I know. It's pretty awesome." And then he'll like ride a lap, and then that'll be about it for a year until the next thing he comes out and takes it to for. You know?
There's a 2-stroke race which is 11 months away now, and then he's got the Langston's the bike show. Langston's bike shows in October by our house, and so I think he'll want to display it there. He had it there out on the town. So that's probably what it's going to be, is occasional deals, and in Havasu maybe there'll be some show he can take it to or something.
If Mammoth starts up, I want to do that.
But you got to qualify for Mammoth now.
I'll
figure that out. He's going to pay somebody off.
Yeah, probably. Straight rhythm, you could if it's 2-stroke.
I know a couple of fast guys.
Yeah, you could take it a straight rhythm, just display it.
All right, so cool. So let's get out on the track. No one's on there yet. It's kind of cold and overcast, and you can see it's prepped pretty deep. So guys are getting scared to get on there, but I think Spencer's going to get out there and tear this thing up. So this is the famous Talladega first turn at Glen Helen from the Nationals that so many people are used to. it is kind of a bummer that there's not a national there anymore. That's a whole nother subject, but that's really a bummer because this track has everything. For those people that have never been to Glen Helen, it changes quite regularly, and it is a tough, gnarly track, but it has a bit of everything in it. It's really fun. Having these hills to go up and down, and the track changes because they can prep a lot of different hills. This 500, you can kind of hear how he's maybe a gear high, and I rode it for sure gear high. I felt a little safer when I rode it a gear high. One of the nice things about Glen Helen here, you can see there's no berms. See this? All the turns are flat. And what that creates is you have to be good at turns and creating lines come into place. This is a hip jump, really fun little jump that floats over. And this is a triple step over. Spencer on that bike didn't triple the whole thing. I actually crashed there about a year and a half ago. I've only jumped it a few times since then, but so that's kind of a bummer. But no tough jumps on the track. That one triple you don't have to do by any means. That's what's really nice about this kind of track. But listen to that thing. I'm surprised how well Spencer rode this bike with just little to no time on it before. So it's kind of cool to for me to see Spencer be able to progress and be able to get on something new like this and have fun. It's pretty cool. This is our called the finish line jump would be right here. So you do, and the track will always change, but typically this is usually the direction the track goes. They have turned it around before, but right now it's kind of stayed that way, and it's pretty fun. And this infield section will kind of be your jump section. And this will always change, these whoops in here, and sometimes it's flat. This bike, it's just surprisingly smooth on power, I guess would be the big thing that I noticed out there riding. So really fun bike, smooth and easy to ride. I think Spencer's looking forward to hopefully being able to ride it at the two-stroke national this spring, and I think Donnie's hoping for the same thing. Okay, so Spencer just got in off the track, got some time on it, got a bunch of people out in the track now. What'd you think?
Awesome. Very cool. The bike, the power is insane, you know.
When you came in, what'd you say about the power?
It was just gnarly.
Yeah, you said boom.
Boom. Oh yeah, I did say boom. Yeah, it's just like boom. Yeah. When it hits hard, and a lot of times you got to be like ready for that. And when you're on a four-stroke, it's somewhat it's a bit more predictable. The power is similar to that of like a 450 in the sense of just like that nice hit, but the problem is on this one, it's like, when exactly is that going to come in? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to find out, but hopefully I'm ready for it. And then you get used to it. As I got more laps in, I was like, okay, once I get onto here, it's just like it's going to start pulling. Like up the hills, there was a guy out there on a Husky 450, and this thing was just easily pulling right past him up the hills, and so it was just like, yeah.
And you said something about the engine braking.
Yeah, so with minimal engine braking compared to a 450, like a modern 450 has a lot of engine braking and then a lot of power. This has a lot of power and then not a ton of engine braking and then brakes that are like 30 years old. And so it's like you got to be real bold to like want to do that. And now we have updated brakes.
These are updated brakes.
So it's a lot better than what they had back then. But nonetheless, it's a man's bike. Oh, I loved it. It was incredible.
And so suspension felt good?
The suspension actually felt surprisingly like comfortable, especially on jumps. I thought, I was worried the bike's so heavy it's gonna feel soft, but it didn't feel soft at all. It handled jump faces really well, and then landing was smooth as well. I did all those little doubles at Glen Helen here. I have a bunch of little doubles, and I did all of those, and it handles all of them, goes in, and then pops right back out. Real nice.
Okay, that's a wrap, and it stayed overcast and cloudy here for, what are we, mid-April, which is pretty rare in California. So we had a pretty good time out here at Glen Helen. I got Donnie here, Donnie's the one that owns this bike, and it was his vision and begging and pleading for me to build this thing.
I don't know that you'd call it a vision. You weren't too happy with my vision.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I can do a ton of other newer bike projects in the time it would take us to do this. He goes, I'm in no hurry. We can just do it. And so it was fun, and that we took our time, and we had some good shop days, and we got some of those videos. Anybody who hasn't seen all the past videos, there's KX500 videos in the playlist. So first of all, how did it live up to your expectations when you got on? And just so you know, I did ride it. I was like, in my head was like, I really don't want to ride this thing, don't want to ride it. But it wasn't too crowded today, which was nice, and the track was relatively smooth for Glen Helen. So I did do some time on the bike, and I was like, I was pretty happy. The thing is gnarly. What did you think of the whole thing, the way it came out?
Well, first, I think it's amazing, right? I think the bike turned out actually better than I thought it would. It came out really looks-wise. As far as riding it goes, it's probably every bit as much of a beast as I thought it would be. What I'm shocked about is actually how well it rides. If you took the power away, it'd be an amazing bike. But the suspension was amazing. I think overall the bike is really good. But it's still not a modern bike.
No, and that's another thing is all the stuff we've done, newer suspension, it's still that we have modern bikes out here today, and that's probably the worst thing we could do is ride them the same day. We have, 2020s out here today, and we're back and forth off these 4-strokes going, this stuff's pretty nice, man. Way light. Everything feels amazing. So, but as far as resurrecting this 30-year-old bike and updating it, and Tom Morgan did a pretty good job with the engine. Even though it's gnarly fast, it is relatively smooth and easy to ride.
Yeah, it's smoother than I thought it would be. But Spencer kind of put it best when he said it was like a surprise when you're going to hit the power. I say it's like a white elephant Christmas gift. You're going to get a box of surprise. You just don't know when it's going to come. So the bike hit so incredibly hard, and figuring out when it's going to hit was probably the most important thing on it.
What was cool for me was that Josh Mosman and Daryl Eklund with Motocross Action magazine, they ride a ton of different bikes and have ridden a lot of 500s. And they both were like, this thing's awesome. And so I was like, okay, good. At least it's a measuring stick. I don't know that I'll be comparing to any other 500s anytime soon. What about you?
No, I don't think so. I think this will be the last. I think first and last. The last time I rode a 500 was probably in '91, and I probably can spend another 30 years before I. But no, I'm going to keep this bike a while, and as Spencer said, I'm probably going to take it out at night, tuxedo night someplace, and ride it here and there and do whatever. But it's definitely not going to be my main squeeze.
No, it's going to be fun to bring out maybe to the 2-stroke race next year. Those kind of things. We'll see. Spencer says he'll race it. You think you'll race it? Spencer's saying he'll race it, so
I'm gonna race it.
And there's open vet novice or something we can find. There's a ton of classes.
I'm gonna race it at least once or twice. I'm gonna race this bike. There's no way I'm gonna do all this and not at least get on a track with it.
And you know what? There's some races at Kuya. They have some 2-stroke things. We'll look for those too on the vet track. That might be a fun deal to do. All right, so it's been a fun build. As you can see, the thing just came out amazing. It's hard on us, especially me, and to put time on it. So we are going to fix a few things wrong and put new graphics on. Decal Works did an amazing job, and they got us an extra set of graphics. So we're going to re-graphic this thing up after we, clean it up and get it kind of be a museum piece in the garage and on a showcase.
Yeah, I thought about hanging at my house in Lake Havasu, like way up high, and you just walk in and kind of be a surprise to see it. No, I'm gonna ride it for a bit, and then we'll see what goes on from there.
And it's relatively easy to start. So when people come over to the garage, you can start it for them and rev it up, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll check you out the track or trail soon.